All right, here's the next one we're going to take on. And I just want to thank you, April, for asking for a tutorial. I mean, that's so nice. Even if we have to clean up your images forever on our, it's nice to just think that maybe one day you might be able to do it on your own. We do enough of these for you. You'll be off and running. You won't have to wait for our team to actually like clean up the artwork. And just super happy that you asked. Thank you. That means a lot. All right, so this image is a big challenge, actually. All we have is like a screenshot, And the problem is we kind of get this from customers, like not us as a company, but all of us. So we get this image, from a customer, and they're like, hey, I want this. And of course, we're in the business of trying to make shirts, so we need to make money. We want to try to find a way to satisfy our customer, and you can't explain to a customer that this won't work, So you asked for me to do this in Photopea, and I'm going to do my very best. Photopea has a lot of limitations, even though it is the very best thing, that's out there. I mean, I would take, if I had a choice between Photopea and Canva, for instance, I would choose Photopea. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to crop this in. All right, so let's just crop in on it. So that's making it easier. So obviously we really can't reuse any of these elements. And there's a lot of different ways that you could, redraw this, So we could just grab our pen tool and we could start tracing around this. That's going to take a lot of time. So I'm going to use ChatGPT because I just don't know any better way to do this quickly. That's the thing, quickly is the key. So I'm just going to go ahead and select this top text and hit Control C. So I've just got this part. I hit Control C, and I'm going to do File New, and I'm hoping that it's going to base it on my clipboard. Let's just see. We'll hit Create, and we'll hit Control V and paste it. Okay, great. So it is working the way I expected it to. And now I'm going to grab my crop tool, and I'm actually going to just kind of stretch this down. This is a little too close on this bottom edge. And then I'm going to go here and on this background, I'm selecting the background, and I'm just going to do solid color, or color fill. It's called solid color in Photoshop. And then I'm just going to click this color back here and hit OK. So all I'm doing there is just kind of giving a little more room around the image. In fact, we could probably do that over here a little bit just to give it a little more room around the image. And that cropped worked because I had that, you see, I've got that color fill layer. So it's just kind of, I'm going to use ChatGPT, and I don't want to confuse the AI, and I don't want to give the AI, get it too close to the edges so it understands the whole image that I need, right? Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to export this as a PNG. So we're exporting this. We'll call it Blame It. And this is really the key to getting a good result out of an AI is, give it just feed it little bits and see if it can't do just that little bit for you. Okay, so we're going to add our photo. We're going to chatgpt.com. I use Pro. I highly recommend Pro. If I had to spend money on just 2 things per month, I would get ChatGPT Pro for $20. I think that's $20 at least currently. And then the next thing that I would buy would be Adobe Photoshop, which is like $30 or $40. I'm not sure. But those are monthly charges, and I get it. You get some free ChatGPT. If you start using it enough, though, you'll be thinking, oh my gosh, I have to get Pro because you'll hit your limits. And when you do get Pro, you get a better model. So let me write this prompt. Okay, so here's my prompt. I need a crisp and clear version of this image, print ready, and production quality. Copy the design exactly. Everything must match. I just want you to clean it up so that it's ready to print. Make the design pure white, isolated against black. So that's a pretty clear prompt for it. And it takes longer with Pro. And this is a really simple image. I'm sure like the basic version could do it. But this is a pretty simple image. Pro is going to do a better job. It's going to think more about it. It's going to try to match the curve. I see it talking about it here. So anyway, just twiddle your thumbs, get yourself a cup of coffee. It'll take maybe like 20 to 30 seconds. All right, that was more like 10 seconds. It's giving us a preview. When it does this, a lot of times when it has a preview, I'll go ahead and save like it's in between step, just in case, you know. But I didn't get a chance because it was too fast. So we'll just go ahead and download that. Awesome. All right, and this is really simple. So this should be good to like bring this right back into something like Inkscape. Okay, so we're going to take this into Inkscape. And this is a free program, and you can download this for free. You just go to inkscape.org, and you click on download now, and then whatever your operating system is, I use Windows, and then 64-bit, and then grab the installer package, install the software, okay? And I've already had it open, so I'm just going to hit File New. And I always like to tell everybody about document properties and the checkerboard. You know, that's a key step. Like turn that checkerboard on so you can see through the background. And then I'll just find that image in my downloads folder. And let's look at what chat's done. So it's a good idea to kind of compare what you had and then what it did. Yeah, it did a fabulous job. You know, obviously we got something nice and crisp over here on the right. And this is 1672 by 941. I'm just pointing that out. Like that's really important. If we look at this at 100%, you know, this is nice and big. It's not big enough to print. It's about 5.5 inches wide by 3 inches tall. Good enough to trace, that's for sure. All right, so let's pull this in, and I am going to pull it in. I'm just dragging it over from that folder that I just put off camera there, and it won't work. And that's a thing that happens sometimes. So I use, at this point, you know, there's a lot of things we could do, actually. We could pull it into Photo P. Yep, let's do that. Let's just do File New. So I'm going to turn this one off. We're done with that. I'm going to do File New. And sure, let's just make it the same dimensions. What I normally do is I just use upscale at this point, right? So I don't need to do new project, actually. I need to do File, Open. Normally what I do is I just pull it into upscale. So I just pull it into my upscale. You get this at upscale.org. All right. Oops. Upscale.org. No, you're missing an L, Mike. So you go to upscale.org, go to desktop, and then go to whatever your operating system is, and then it should just start downloading, and that's what it's doing there. And so, but you could also do it in Photo P like this, and all we need to do is export it again as a PNG. Like for whatever reason, ChatGPT, what it puts out is not working. As you know, when let's see if it works coming out of let's see if it works coming out of Photo P. But for whatever reason, what comes down from ChatGPT is not working to pull directly into Inkscape. So, you know, all this stuff's so confusing. Okay, yeah. See, and now it works, and we didn't change a thing. It's just like the file format that ChatGPT is using is not correct. But upscale would have fixed it too. We could have just opened it up in upscale, selected the image, and then upscaled it like just 2x, and that would have fixed it. So, all right, so now we've got the image drug in. So we want to go to Path, Trace Bitmap, and I just leave that tab open all the time in my Inkscape, so it's right here. And we're just going to want to invert it and hit Apply. So we inverted it so that it wouldn't trace the outside black. We wanted it to just trace the actual design, okay? And then we're going to select that path, and we're going to change it to white. So now we got that white, and then we're going to do Control-Shift-R to fit it to the stage, which is just File, Document Properties, and then this Resize to Content button. But Control-Shift-R is the shortcut. All right, so now we're going to save this as, and I'm going to call it Blame It. And it's going to be fine to save it as an SVG. So we'll just save that. And we'll start rebuilding our document. So now we're going to go here. I'm going to do File New. And we're going to make it really big. And I mean, you don't want to go crazy. I see people do 10,000 pixels, and that's wrong. Don't want to go crazy, but you want to give yourself a little bit of room around the edges on the sides. So I'm going to do like 5,000. Okay? And then as far as height, let's do 6,000. I'm just guessing. And then as far as DPI, we're going to do 300. And, you know, name, what are we going to call this? Blame It Drink Package. Okay. Background contents, we just want transparent. RGB, all that is good. Hit create. Awesome. So now we're going to bring in that SVG. So I've got this SVG right here that we just made. And I'm just going to drag and drop it on the stage. And it's an SVG, so I can make it larger when I place it. So I think so. This is the way Photoshop works. I'm going to give myself a little bit of room. I'm trying to hold shift as I move it around so it stays centered. Just going to give myself a little bit of room to work with. And then I'm going to hit Control 1 to try to inspect it. So I'll just hit Control 1. And we're going to put a solid color of black behind it. So I'm going to select this background layer. Click this little dot. And then do color fill and choose black and hit OK. Yeah, it looks nice and sharp. So we're good. So that's working just the way it's supposed to. So I'm using Control minus to zoom in and out and Control plus to zoom. Yeah, Control plus to zoom in. So I'm holding the Control on my keyboard and then using my numpad keys to zoom in and out. So we got that part of the image done. All right, let's close up these other things so that we're not confusing ourselves. And let's go ahead and file save as PSD. And it's going to save it right here on my computer so that I've got my progress. I've got my progress point saved. All right. So far we've used all free software except ChatGPT, but it does have a free version. And so that's good. All right. So now we're back here. I'm going to grab my paintbrush tool. I've got this nice selection up here. And I'm using my, I was trying to use them. Let's see, I'm trying to make I'm using the bracket keys. They're right above the enter key to like make my brush bigger. And you can see I can adjust it up here too, right here. But it's just making my brush bigger. And I'm going to hold Alt. Well, gosh. Hello. I'm not going to hold Alt. I'm just going to click here. In Photoshop, you hold Alt, and I think you also do that. Yeah, look, it was just kind of having a bug in Photopea. So Alt and then click, and then select a color. All right, now I'm going to hit Control D. So I'm just isolating just these glasses, you know. And you could choose to do different things here, but I'm just going to go ahead and just try to get just the glasses, okay? And I'm just wiping away the things that are like going to distract the AI, you know. And now I'm going to grab the glasses. I'm going to try to make them even. So I'm just using my marquee tool and just drawing around what I want. And I think you can go here and do Edit Transform Selection. All right, Select Transform Selection. I'm going to make this even. So I'm going to hold Shift actually, so that I kind of have the same amount of space all the way around the glasses. I just don't want to confuse it. All right, now I'm going to hit Control C, and that should have copied it to my clipboard. And I'm going to do that same thing. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to start a new chat. Ooh, I wish that I had copied something there. Let's just go back to ChatGPT, because I got this on my clipboard, and I'll paste it. And then I'm just going to hit copy. All right. And then I'm going to edit this. So copy the design exactly. Everything must match. Instead of make the design pure white, preserve the colors. And then isolate it against black. Yeah, that's what we want because we got white here. There's lots of things you could do here. You could be like, you know, put a black outline, isolate it against whites. For this particular image, because of the way it is, and I'll just talk about that while it's thinking. You know, we got black coming in to the edges, but April was wonderful and actually told me that she's putting this on black, so we know we want to knock all that black out. So this is going to be the right thing to do for this in this case. Okay. So let's let it think. So this is one of those moments where I would like save this, like even like while it's still in process. I just get nervous because sometimes it does like exactly what I want when I'm using Pro, and then it thinks about it a little bit more, and then it screws it up, and it's so frustrating. All right, so now we've got that. So this one we definitely are going to need to upscale. Okay, so I've got that downloaded. I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and then click on download. And I'm just looking for any kind of problems. I really don't see anything. It looks pretty clean to me. So that's great. All right. So we're going to upscale it. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to my downloads folder, and there's that last one that I brought in. I'm going to open that up, and I want to go pretty big on this. I mean, the bigger I go, the cleaner a selection I can make. And so I think that, yeah, going to like 4X, I mean, that's really big. You don't want to go past that stuff. And especially working with Photopea, I mean, I wouldn't go past that size working with Photoshop, but definitely working with Photopea, like, you know, it's even more limited than Photoshop. It struggles a little bit more. So I would definitely not want to do that. All right, so now I'm back to my original document. I'm just going to hit Control Z a few times to bring back some of the stuff that we know we want to keep. You know, I'm just hitting Control Z on that. But I'm going to do File, Open, and I'm going to open this upscaled version of the image. I'm going to rename it first. I'm going to call it Glasses. I'm going to call it Blame Glasses, just so it has like a name that makes sense and goes with the image. And hit Open. Okay, right. Click on it after I rename it. Open it. Okay. And so we're going to break this up into some layers. The first thing we want to do is just get all our white. So I'm just grabbing my magic wand. Contiguous is checked. Tolerance is set to 80. Anti-alias, you know, all these are good things. And we're just going to select right here. And that's getting everything around. I'm just looking at my selection. It's got all of that glasses object. I'm going to hit Control C and then Control Shift V. So that's paste in place. And then I'm just going to turn this background off. Now there could be, and probably is, a small outline around everything. And just to show you that, you don't have to do these steps, but I'm just showing you because I'm trying to teach. Let's put this against black. So now we can see it against pure black. That's one way to check for problems. And then you want to zoom to pixel, so it's Control 1. And you can see like the real quality. I mean, the way you judge quality is first you look at your image size. You know, so we'll change this to be 300 DPI. We got resample off. Let's change it to 300 and hit OK. Actually, I'll click up here just so you can see what's happening. So it's 22 inches at 300, and let's just go ahead and hit OK. And nothing changed because we didn't change anything. We just set the DPI. That doesn't change the quality. It just helps printers understand what size to print it at. And 300 is like the professional to be, you know, working size. Now let's change this to white. And there we got a problem. See that? That is a problem. It's probably not going to be a problem for this particular image. And the reason it won't be is because we're going to put it on black. And those are black outlines. But it's just not good to like work with these. This is what we call fake outlines. And sometimes we call them fake edges. And we call them fake because they're not supposed to be there. It's not real. We don't want that to be there. Okay, so how do we fix that? We're going to take this and we're going to do blending options. And we're going to do a color overlay. And then we're going to set the color to white. And now it's completely disappeared against that white background. So we've got a perfect white layer. And that is beautiful. That's going to print just perfectly. Okay. So let's turn all that off and let's work on these other elements. So we want to start selecting, and I'm going to select this. So I've got my magic wand backed, and I'm going to select this part. I'm not sure what happened there. It's selected all the way out to the outside. I'm going to make sure to have this selected. Control D. There we go. All right. And then I'm just switching to the hand tool by holding the space bar and then clicking and dragging. And I'm going to shift select this. I'm clicking multiple times, even on the same stuff in different places, because what that's going to do, and I want all that white, all that. Ooh, another thing we could think about is instead of selecting these individually, and this is just, this is kind of part of the process, you start learning the image is what I call it. We could actually just knock the black off of this. That's probably the best thing to do. So let's Control D. Let's just select this black. Yeah, that's got everything inside that lens. And let's shift select this black. This is the way to go. This is the way forward for sure. Now there's a possibility, I'm just going to click where there's a couple places where my eyes are seeing like a little bit less or a little bit more, just a little bit of inconsistency, because that's what AI does. It's really good at inconsistency. So this, these other, there is not a possibility. There's a definite that there are going to be like little black edges. And again, not necessarily a problem because we're putting this on black, but we want to show you how to fix that, right? So we want to just dig in. And let me show you what I mean. So let's zoom in here. So this part right here, this is the edge, okay? So like when we get in close enough, you can see there's a little discoloration around that edge. So just to fix that, and we're working really big, I'm going to do Select, Modify, Expand, and we're going to expand by 1 pixel. And it might take a second for it to do that. Or it might have already done it. Let me just see. I'm going to hit Control Z. Yep. And then Control Shift Z to redo. So now it's just cut in just a tiny bit. I mean, this is really being picky. But instead of having that black edge, we're going to have a pure color all the way around. And so now I'm just going to hit Delete. So I'm just going to delete the black. Ooh, there's that bird. Whoops. I made a bookmark. I hit Control D to deselect. That's an odd thing. Control D to deselect. Sometimes Photo P, has a little bit of a problem where it screws up, and it's like the browser is what actually like observes your keyboard shortcuts. But keyboard shortcuts are the key to working with image programs. So we're going to do Select, Modify, Expand on that bird. I didn't even see it happen, so I'm just going to check it. Yeah, Control Z. Yeah, Control Shift Z. Okay, great. And then I'm going to hit Delete on that. Control D. Okay, so now I've got myself in a pickle. I've got these glasses. Let me just go ahead and select these glasses again. And I'm going to do Select, Modify, Expand. But I'm going to go 5 pixels this time. And it's thinking about it. And so now we're definitely outside of that white. And I'm just going to hit Delete. So now I'm getting these parts isolated. And then I'm just going to keep going with that technique, I think, because this is working so well. We could try to circle these, or we could just keep going with this. And we could have done this all at once, but just kind of being careful and doing it step by step. Let's go 10 pixels now, because we're just erring on the side of caution. And then we'll just hit Delete. All right, and we got a clean layer. So now, here's all of the stuff that we're preserving. So I'm going to call this inside. And then this is the outside. This is the frame. Yeah, that would be a better name. Frame, and then lens. And, you don't have to be as picky as me. You can literally just run after this. I I know that I scare people sometimes because I'm such a perfectionist, but that is, I think why I'm good at this is am a perfectionist and I really care about the quality of the images. So now I've got that done. And see, like, there's that perfectionist leaking out. See these, I still have, or no, I might have just seen them. I like Photoshop, right? Photopea is great. I'm a Photoshop fan. Okay, so now we're just going to do image, trim. And you can top left pixel corner or transparent. I always say transparent at this step because that's what it is in Photoshop. Image, trim, transparent. I get the same results, it seems like, with top left pixel corner. I don't really understand what that is. And now I'm just going to export this guy. So you could save this as a PSD and save it as just your Blame glasses. And that would be nice because it's got the layers in it. Let's just see what happens if we bring in a PSD. So let's do File, Open, and Place. And we'll grab that Blame glasses. Yeah, cool. So now it's a smart object, right? So now we can actually double click on that and it'll open it back up, I think. I'm confusing myself, guys. Let me just close this one. What happens if I double click on this? Yeah, so see, we still have our frame and our lens separated. So that was the right thing to do, is make it a PSD. And then we want to set up our reference. Okay, so let's set up our reference. I'm going to find our original. Here it is. I'm going to Control Z on this one a little bit more. And I'm just going to Control A, Control C. And then I'm going to set this in the back of our Blame It Drink package. And we're going to paste it on here. So I've just copied it and I'm just pasting it on here. And I'm going to move that to the bottom. I'll actually move it underneath this background and turn the background off. And then I'm going to do Control minus. And now with that layer selected, so I'll call this reference. Oh, I hit Control T and it took me to a different page. All right, click there. It's Control Shift T. No. Is it Control Alt T? Yes. All right. In Photoshop, it is just Control T. And, I will tell you that Photopea is the most similar to Photoshop of all the programs out there. So it is the right one to use. So if I hold Shift, it distorts the image. Okay. If I hold Shift and Alt, it's still distorting, but it's doing it from the center. So if I just hold Alt, and I was just kind of learning that as I played around, then I can just pull this in and drop it right where it is. Okay, so I'm just kind of lining that up, and I'm just going to hit Enter. So that's my reference. And now I'm going to grab my glasses, Control Alt T, learning, and I'm holding Alt and sizing it in. Okay, and I'm going to scoot my reference over a little bit. So I'm just going to grab my Move tool and just click it over a little bit. So I'm using my arrow keys. Yeah, and it's not perfect. Control Alt T. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And then I'm using my arrow keys. I'm holding Shift, which makes it move more at once. And it's not going to ever be exact because we re-rendered that Blame It. So I'm just kind of getting it close. Okay, and I hit Enter to confirm. And now I've got my glasses. And I'm going to do Control Alt T, Mike. I'm going to close all these other, close these tabs. All right, Control Alt T. And we don't have to be super precise. I'm doing it because I'm not you, and I'm not the designer. You're the designer. I'm actually just trying to make your dream come true here. So that's why I'm being so perfect and worried so much about little things. So look, we're making lots of progress. And I think you're getting the drift of how I'm going to do this. So I'm just going to pause the recording and do the rest of the elements and come back and show you how to save it. I'll show you this part real quick. So I say that and then I like go back to recording. So let's just Control D on this. Little things like this, I'm going to circle it. And then I'm going to do Control Shift I to select the inverse. And then I'm going to grab my paintbrush, my brush tool, and just paint away all the confusing parts that are going to confuse the AI. And then I'm just going to grab just this with my marquee and give it something like that. Okay, I'm going to do the rest of the elements. Okay, I'm back. I'm going to place my last element. So I always sort my by last modified. So like sort date modified so that that's on the top. And I delete my downloads folder like every single day if I can remember. All right, so I'm just going to place this last element. So I'm holding Alt and holding Shift to go down. It's not going to line up perfectly. That's okay. We're going to get close. Make it look nice. Follow that curve of those glasses. Enter. Okay, and now we're just going to set everything up. So we're done with our reference. We can just delete that layer. And I'm just going to grab all of these. I'll turn my black on so we can see what we're doing. And I'm just going to go to my Move tool. And then I'm going to set this align to canvas. We might not see anything move at all. And I'm just going to center horizontally because everything on here is centered. That was just a little last step just to make sure everything's centered. I'm going to turn this background off. No, I'm going to save. Let's save the PSD. So I've got the PSD. I'm going to turn the background off. It's ready to go. Image, trim. So transparent. Okay. And now let's set our size. So we're going to do image size. Now, if I were you, I would actually set this to exactly what I needed. So what size I needed, what size I wanted to print it at. I don't know what size you want to print it at. Or actually, I think you told me, which is fine. But you can size it in the Game Builder, right? So I'm going to do what I always do. 15 inches wide or 19 inches tall. So I actually want resample on for this. 15. Okay. And then we're just going to hit OK. And it's going to have to think about that. All right. Now we're going to merge all these layers. So I'm just going to merge them. Merge layers. And then I'm going to do layer, raster mask from transparency. Hold Alt, click the mask, image, adjustments, threshold. This is being super picky, but what that's going to do is it's going to actually make sure that there are no semi-transparent pixels anywhere on this document. And that is the best thing possible. All right. And now we're ready to export it. So we're going to do File, Export As. Actually, I'm just going to check that real quick because it feels like it put some weird stuff. No, it's fine. It just gives you some weird artifacts. File, Export As, PNG. And so it's 15 inches wide. It's thinking about that export. Okay, and then we're just going to hit Save. And it has downloaded it. And I am going to rename it because this is like the one that's actually ready to print. So I'm just going to do rename, blame it on the drink package. And I'm going to say 4500 PX. That's letting you know it's 15 inches wide. RTP because it's ready to print. And then I'm going to put my name so you know that I'm the one that did it. And I've got these two images. These are the two worth saving. The rest of this, like, this is just all junk. You know, we can just delete all this stuff. Let's just clear out our downloads folder while we're thinking about it. It wouldn't let me do that one because I've got this PDF open. And this one, I think that I've got that saved, but I'm not sure, so I'm just going to be careful. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to take this image and the PSD, and I'm going to put it up in April's folder. We really need a better way. I hope you are this April Samet, and I'm not putting it in the wrong folder. But it's putting it up there, and you've got the PSD if you need it. So you can literally go download this PSD, and I'll send you the link to the folder and the link to the actual image. But I'm just going to share, copy link. You know, what I normally like to do at this stage is I like to make you something so you can see what's happened here. So, I mean, usually what I'll do is I'll do like new. I'll make this, I'm in Photoshop now. I'm just doing it because it's easy. I'll make this like 3000. Actually, what I'll do is I'll open this. So I'll open this with Photoshop. Open with, where are you, buddy? Open with, moves around on me. There it is, open with Photoshop. All right, and then I will put a solid color of white. And then I'm gonna do image size. And I'm gonna do 5 inches here, so it's 1500 pixels wide. And I'm actually just gonna do canvas size and give it a little bit around the room so it looks a little better. And then what I would do is export this as a PNG. I'm gonna put this in my downloads folder. I'm gonna call it white. And then I'm gonna change this and I'm gonna make it black. And then I'm gonna do image size. Canvas size, sorry. Image canvas size. I'm gonna anchor it over here and I'm gonna add 1600 pixels on the right-hand side. And then I'm gonna grab that white one and just drop it on and drag it over so it snaps so that you can see this like preview. So I'm gonna call this export, and I'll just call it white too because that's just a junk image. All right, and then I'm gonna grab this, share, copy link. We go back to the Facebook post, and I'm gonna say, your image is ready. Here you go. Paste it, and then I'm going to add that preview so that you can see what it looks like on black and white. It'll just really tell the tale that that stuff is fully transparent. And I mean, I'm just so proud. This is a perfect. You see no artifacts. It's perfect. So proud of that. Okay. And then I'm going to stop this recording, render it, and also link the YouTube video. Hey, thanks for ordering from Crystal DTF. We really appreciate your orders. And, we go above and beyond trying to teach everybody how to do this stuff and how to help them clean up their images. Appreciate you all very much. Again, it's Mike White with Crystal DTF, and we are the home of the very best DTF transfers on the planet, and we really care. Have a great day.